YouTube, what is good? Well, it's the second one this week, if I get it to edit in time. So this week a little topic about what do you need when you want to start with model photography. So let's jump straight into it. So, what do you need when you want to first start out with model photography? One of the first things you need, which is logical, but I'm just gonna say it anyway, is you need a camera. Now, you don't need any fancy camera, just a DSLR, a basic one, or a mirrorless will just be fine. Don't get crazy, don't buy cameras which are way too expensive because you're still not sure if model photography is something you want to get into. So just the camera you have will probably be just fine. I'm not talking about an iPhone or anything, not a point and shoot. I'm seriously talking about a DSLR which has changeable lenses or a mirrorless which also has changeable lenses. Future wise, that might be an important thing. So a camera is one thing you need for sure. Now, when we move to the next segment, once you have a camera, the next thing you will need is a lens. Now, a lot of people go like, yeah, you need to buy that expensive lens, you need to buy that expensive lens. You don't need to buy expensive lenses. When you're first starting out, you're still, like I said before, not sure if photography is something you want to get into. So when you buy your first camera, normally there is a lens included in the package, which is called a kit lens. Normally it has the range between 18 to 55 millimeter depending on the camera, but that's normally the range. So you got a sort of a wide angle lens. Now that's all good, and to learn how to compose an image you don't need anything else. Just keep in mind that when you're shooting at those wide angles and you're doing a portrait, don't go lower than 50 millimeters. You want to stay at 50 millimeters or higher, because once you get lower, you get a distortions. You've sure seen all the images like when the head is curved a little bit. Watch out for those. Now, if you're into environmental portraits, like you got more of the surroundings on the picture, then 18 millimeters might just work fine. But remember, you get distortion when you put the subject, the model in this case, next to an edge, near an edge, then you will get the curving going on. So keep that in mind. So 50 millimeter or above when you're shooting headshots. When you're doing something wider, more, it's okay to go a little bit wider with the lens. Also, one thing to keep in mind, if you're shooting at 18 millimeters, don't get too close to the model, because then you get the distortion effect even more. Now, if it's something you want to go for, like we all know the images where a model is pointing into the camera like I'm doing now, you see the distortion even now. So my hand looks huge in comparison to my face. So that's something to keep in mind. So we had a camera, a lens. Now, another thing we need on top of that, because that's not all we need, is light. An image is still created by the use of light. Now, don't go to the store, buy immediately the most expensive strobes you can get or anything. First, start with ambient light. So ambient light is the light that is surrounding us now. Now I'm lighting this with artificial light, but when you're walking outside, the sun is our ambient light. When you're in a room with light bulbs, that's ambient light. So the light that is in the environment of you is called ambient light. Keeping that in mind, when we use ambient light, you don't need anything special. It's perfect to learn those specific light patterns, which we will cover in the next video. But even a light from Home Depot, in Belgium it's Hubo, Gamma, or whatever store you want to go to, keep in mind that you don't need fancy lights. You just need light because light creates your image. So go to a Hubo, a Gamma, or a Home Depot, buy those build quality lights and use them. The only thing to keep in mind is white balance, because that will be really yellow and you don't want that in your images. But just use light. Any light is okay. Don't go to the store, buy strobes. And even if you intend to buy a strobe, just buy one. Don't go out buy like 4 or 5 lights because it might be cool to use them. No, just use one light, learn how to use that light, and then after that fact, it's okay to go one step further and buy another light. Also, when you buy a modifier, which is something you put in front of your strobe, try to learn how that can be manipulated, how you can use it before buying all the possible modifiers to put on the strobe. So that's the light part. So again, learn your settings on the camera, learn what your lens does when you go close to a subject, when you move further away, and on top of that, light. Now start with ambient light, then start with one strobe and see if you prefer ambient light or strobe light. Myself personally, I prefer strobes, but that's just me because I like to have control of the light. Now, another thing when you want to start out, which is point number 4, is one important thing: you need a model. Now, a model can be anybody as long as they are in a good mood and they are okay to pose for you. Not even posing, but just be your puppet doll to stand in there and so you can see what the light does. A lot of people go like, yeah, but I don't have any models in my in my immediate environment. Well, you got friends, you got family, you got neighbors, you got nephews, you got nieces. Just ask them like, hey, would it be okay for you if you come like 1 hour, 2 hours to the studio or to any location, because I'm talking studio, but any location will do, and play around with light, move yourself around the model, let the model move around you. So just try different things. Don't get scared if the first time it doesn't work. When we fail, when we make mistakes, we learn from them. That's how I learned it. So shoot a lot, and a lot, I mean like try to shoot at least once a week and learn from the images, analyze the images after it, and then just go for it. Don't go like look hours on the internet and go like, oh yeah, but he can do that. That's not something I can do. Just do your own thing. Don't copy. Learn from other people. Do some research on YouTube and just shoot. Shoot a lot. The more you shoot, the more experience you will get, the more relaxed you will get when using modifiers. And also, people skills are one of those things that are important when shooting. I still remember the first time I was shooting, I was more nervous than the model herself. But that goes away. The longer you shoot, the more you shoot, it just fades. Now, I hope those tips were useful for you. If you got questions about this topic, don't hesitate to get in touch with me below, reply. Send me an email. I'm reachable on all social media, so just get in touch. Now, these are the 4, if I remember: camera, lens, model, and light. Those 4 tips will be enough to go ahead and shoot. Now, if something goes wrong, just talk to the person you're shooting with. Don't go into silent mode because that looks funky from the subject's side. So talk to them, communicate with them, tell them up front, listen, I want to shoot. I'm not sure what I want to shoot, but I want to try out some things, and it might be that there's not an image coming out of it. When they know the conditions up front, you'll be more likely to have somebody who's okay with it because they don't have any expectations. So you can freely try things, play with things, and evolve yourself as a photographer. Now, I know this has been, I think it's been a pretty long one. I'm not sure about it, but yeah, keep it in mind. Just shoot. If you got questions, I'm here for you. Just leave them below, and then I'll see you when I see you. Ciao, ciao.